Greetings, humans! Welcome to the 2019 NFL season. I'm Bob Harris, senior editor here at FootballDiehards.com. This is your Week 1 injury review, preview, update, overview thing. A short video we like to do every Saturday about the middle of the day to get everything on your radar you need to have on your radar heading into Sunday's morning's pregame. We'll cover everything on the news. We'll have a live video on the site with Bobby Gomes and Kyle Dvorak putting together DFS builds. I'll be on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio doing the pregame show. I'll be updating the website with all the inactives and all those things. This will set the table, though. Set your plate every week. If you can't follow along on the minute by minute, this will get you up to speed. And I'll try to keep them brief and make it consumable in a short time. And let's get the ball rolling because it's not like nothing's going on, right? Antonio Brown is no longer an Oakland Raider. He was released Saturday morning following a bizarre series of back and forths with the team. Basically, he had a blow up with the general manager for being fined. He was fined further for that. He then posted a video on YouTube Friday night that included an apparently surreptitiously recorded phone conversation with head coach John Gruden. And they fined him more and took away his guarantees and basically put him on a week-to-week contract. You know, he had $15 million guaranteed this year, $30 million guaranteed next year. They kind of took that away. So he asked for his release early Saturday morning, received it later Saturday morning. He is now free to sign with any team in the NFL immediately. It could happen while I'm talking, over my shoulder. This is AB World, fast. AB World, people. Things move fast. So realistically, can he play on Sunday? No. Even if he signed with the team today, he's not going to play tomorrow. Theoretically, could he play on Monday night if he signed with the Broncos, the Saints, or the Texans? Yeah, I guess, theoretically. And I throw out theoretically because, again, it's AB World. Things move fast there. So this will be a situation we'll obviously be watching. I've been updating carefully. Go click on the latest article in the AB, the Oakland Threads, and you'll be able to click through and see all the previous and kind of follow along the evolution. It's been fascinating, if nothing else. Melvin Gordon for the Los Angeles Chargers continues his holdout. There is no end in sight. Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson will split the workload. I've been told 50-50, maybe variance due to the hot hand, starting with tomorrow's game against Indianapolis. As far as if you're a Gordon owner, your expectations, you should not have any. We don't know when he's going to come back. He could cave in at any time. If you missed it, he asked the Chargers, he's going into the last year of his contract to make $5 million. The Chargers offered him 10. He found that disrespectful. He's held out since. The Chargers gave him permission to seek a trade about a week ago, and nobody's going to trade for him. That's why they gave him permission to trade, so he could realize no one's going to trade for him. Nobody's going to pay the Chargers the draft capital or whatever they want in return for his services and then pay him more than $10 million. It's not going to happen. So we'll see how this plays along. What do you do if you're an Antonio Brown or a Melvin Gordon owner? You have these guys on your roster. Well, you bought the ticket. Watch the show. See how it plays out. Don't be in a hurry to do anything if you're in a terrible roster pinch, I suppose. But I can't imagine being in a bad enough pinch to start the season that you feel the need to move on from one of these players who seriously might be a golden ticket at some point if they just show up and start playing at their previous levels. So there's that. And, look, you can adjust your strategy according to your needs, but that would be my advice. Kind of sit it out and see what happens. Breathe, people. It's early. Good news, Ezekiel Elliott will play. He signed his contract this week, $90 million, 6-year deal. And he will play against the Giants. We just don't know the workload yet. Jane Slater from NFL Network reported he'd get between 15 and 25 reps. That doesn't mean carries, people. Doesn't mean touches. So, look, if you have him in season long, he's probably still a great option to play. In DFS, I would say Leslow. He's one of the most expensive options on FanDuel and DraftKings both at his position. So, be a little cautious when you're investing in him this week. But over the long term, I think it's fair to play him this week in season long. And, of course, you're going to have a great player every week from there on out. Todd Gurley, not on a snap count this week, according to Sean McVay. Everyone I've talked to in Los Angeles says the plan has been perfect all offseason. They practice him every other day. They're managing the knee issue. I know there's some concerns because he missed time late last year. But, and expecting him to get the 22-plus touches he got a game last year, maybe is a reach, but is 20? I don't think so. 18 seems reasonable. 15 to 20, that seems like a fair range. So expect Todd Gurley, play him, without reservation week 1, and we'll see where it goes. But that's where we're at right now. Beyond that, the questionable players, the game time decisions, and again, you'll want to check the website in the 90 minutes leading up to each of the respective kickoffs. I roll through these things in the chronological order of kickoffs, so you have an understanding of what your options are. If you have a guy in the early games, do you have an opportunity to put someone in from the late games? If they're in a late game, do you have to have somebody on hand? So We'll start with the early kickoff. Stephon Diggs is questionable with a hamstring injury. Practiced Thursday and Friday on a limited basis. Sat out Wednesday, didn't even dress. So fair amount of uncertainty there going against the Atlanta Falcons. I'd watch this one closely. And again, I'll have the final status in the 90 minutes leading up to kickoff. But on all these guys, if they're questionable players and you don't want to deal with the uncertainty, don't be afraid to pivot away from them now. Just, maybe your options are limited. So Robbie Anderson for the New York Jets, he listed as questionable. It sounds like he will play, but he has a really tough matchup against the Bills cornerback Tre'Davious White, so that's worth noting as well. But you'll have to verify his status also in the 90 minutes leading up to kickoff, along with Albert Wilson of the Miami Dolphins. Hip injury. I think he's going to play a significant role. I really like him. Check my DFS 3 and out column, and you'll see why. Marquise Brown on the other side of the ball. Both these guys are coming off injuries from last year. Wilson a hip and Brown the Liz Frank injury he suffered in college. Hasn't done a lot of work this summer in camp, so it's hard to imagine him playing a huge role, but John Harbaugh says he should be available. Jordan Reed probably won't be. 7th documented concussion that he suffered in the 3rd preseason game still has not been cleared. Sound like he was getting closer towards the end of the week, but we heard that Saturday would be an important day. The reporting this morning from NFL Network is that he's not going to play, and they promoted a tight end from the practice squad. That'll be one to watch. 2 weeks out and not clearing the protocols worrisome. Late afternoon kickoffs. Mike Evans of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a smash matchup against the San Francisco 49er defense that gave up 35 touchdowns last year. Jameis Winston also a great play. But Evans is listed as questionable with an illness. He came down with it on Friday, did not practice. Other players on the team have had it, was going around. Sounds like it's a 24-hour thing. My expectation is he'll play, but remember it's a late afternoon kickoff, so have your options ready when that active announcement comes out. Hopefully it works out for us. It won't work out for A.J. Green or David Moore in the Cincinnati-Seattle game. Green, best case scenario, has been reported to be a week 3 return from the ankle injury he suffered early in training camp. Could be later than that as well. Moore will miss a couple weeks. DK Metcalf, the rookie wide receiver, had a knee procedure a couple weeks ago, taken off the injury report. Good news there. Jordan Wilkins for the Colts, far enough down the depth chart, you shouldn't be worried about him, but he is questionable. On the other side of the ball, Mike Badgley, the place kicker for the Chargers, injured his groin in practice on Friday. He's questionable. Pivot away, people. No need to deal with kickers. There's enough fish in the sea there at that position. You don't want to deal with a guy. I believe their punter will take over if he can't go, if he's a late afternoon scratch. So no need to go to the punter either. Find somebody else. Sunday night, Demaryius Thomas, the wide receiver for the Patriots, Matt Lacoste, the tight end for the Patriots, hamstring and ankle respectively. They're both listed as questionable going up against the Steelers in Foxborough. Again, not sure you need to be forcing either of these guys into your lineup, but we'll have the inactive announcement 9 minutes leading up to kickoff. Monday night, Kiki QT. Bill O'Brien has characterized him as touch and go. The final injury reports will be out later Saturday afternoon. Check them on the main page of the site. I'll have those up. He has the ankle issue. Kenny Stills is standing by, the guy they traded for just a couple weeks ago or a week ago. Is standing by, ready. Maybe he'll get into rotation behind DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller. Other side of the ball, J.J. Nelson is likely to be questionable with an ankle issue as well. And also, Antonio Brown has been released by the Oakland Raiders. Wow. It's a crazy world. A couple other newsy items. Julio Jones looks like he'll get his contract done on Saturday, supposedly a $66 million 3-year deal that will make him the highest paid receiver in the NFL. And again, Ezekiel Elliott will be playing. Don't know how much. Antonio Brown released. Melvin Gordon holdout ongoing. Check back to the main page of the site. All throughout the Sunday, I'll have the inactives as they're released by the league. You can listen to me on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio in the pregame show with Jeff Manns. I'll have that information as well. Kyle and Bobby will have it in their live video on the site as well. You can also hear me on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 p.m. You can hear me Saturday night on SiriusXM NFL Radio with Mike Dempsey, 3 hours, 8 to 11. So a lot of time if you want to catch up on things. We'll be talking about all these issues there and more. Check the site for all the columns and other information. The podcast is up once a week with Justin, Kyle, and myself. You'll get columns from Justin Llanero, Kyle Dvorak, me, Gary Davenport, Brad Cruz, Emil Kadlik, John Lobb, the whole assortment of us. We'll have all kinds of good information up for you every single week, including this injury review, preview, update, overview thing every Saturday about the middle of the day. I'll talk to you then. Have fun. Good luck this week.